Hello, it's Tuesday night. So good to see you tonight. Hope you've had an absolutely fabulous week. I'm sure you've been super busy as we get closer and closer to Easter. Hope you haven't been eating too many Easter eggs and hot cross buns. I know my absolute downfall is the chocolate flavored hot cross buns, my absolute favorite. Um, so nearly school holidays. So those of you who are parents, I'm sure you're thinking about what am I going to do with the kids in the holidays. So next week we see the schools go on holiday, but not on holiday for parents, hey, only for the children. So tonight I'm really looking forward to a great, this is, every time when I prepare and get ready for Tuesday nights, I often think, gee, I'm speaking to myself. I've still got so much to learn. I've still got such a long way to go. And tonight was just another one of those examples. The title in itself, Move, Repeat. Um, and yeah, really lean in tonight. Tonight is, it's quite a challenging one. And so stick with me. Don't listen to 5 minutes and think, wow, it's getting a bit hot in here. I'm out. Stick it out, stick with me, and I promise you that this one is really going to help you grow if you apply the principles. So good to see Colleen, Zama, King and Queen, Ronica, welcome. Good to have all the others who are with me who I can't see who you are, but you can see me. Thanks so much for taking time out of your hectic day. And remember, this is 25 minutes just for you. Like, this is your soul food time. And we need to create those margins in our lives because no one else will create them for us. So it's the time where you're going to get fed, where you're going to be encouraged. And it's entirely just selfishly your space and your time. Again, if you're new to this platform, my name is Debbie Sloan. I'm lead pastor of an amazing church, Authentic City Church, in Kenilworth, Cape Town. I don't often speak about my book, Finding Me. If you're wanting to know more about how you can get your hands on a really powerful book, very practical, all about finding your purpose, finding your destiny, you can go to www.debbiesloan.co.za and you can find out more about how to order my book. I'm getting ready to start publishing my second book. I'm just kind of almost finished. And so I did on this platform read a few excerpts from the book. It's going to be a book of devotionals and it's called The Patient Pause. And it's all about my journey with cancer and the recovery process. So that should be coming out hopefully this year. And yeah, looking forward to releasing that. Tracy, thanks so much for joining me. Remember, send those emojis if you identify with something that I've said. Like, share, comment. So respond, because that's always good. When you get something good, respond or share or do something with it. Don't keep something good just for yourself. Okay, so yeah, Zama, also you'll be the first one to get a copy of the book, I'm sure. And so, are you ready for tonight? Have you got your note taking something, whatever that may be? Okay, so let's get started. Let's get down to it. Hopefully, the kids are going to give you just a few minutes of respite. I hope none of you are having to lock yourselves in the bathroom to jump onto winning. And remember, winning, it's keys to living a winning lifestyle. So the whole objective for Tuesday night is to see you step into just winning. And if you are running in the lane of winning, is how do we get stronger and maintain that winning posture even when your circumstances scream losing. So come on, let's do this. So move, repeat. Have you ever noticed what happens if you sit still in one position and you try and get up? Have you ever had that pins and needles sensation? It's like you can't, if you've been sitting on your foot for a long time, you can't feel your foot. It's like the blood has stopped flowing to that extremity. And it's such a horrible feeling. So sitting still for long periods of time, it actually almost deadens, whether it's your leg or it's your foot. Let's look at another example. You know, when you wake up in the mornings and the dreaded alarm goes off, how many of you hit the snooze button, or every morning you have the same argument with yourself and the alarm clock? Just give me 5 more minutes, just 5 more minutes. Then 5 minutes become 6 minutes, 6 become 10. And it's that constant backwards and forwards bargaining. And when you do eventually get up, how many of you find that you're just so lazy and sluggish? And so tonight's story is about a guy who got stuck. He just got stuck in his space. And I'm going to read to you from John 5, verses 2 to 9 in the Passion Translation. Inside the city near the sheep gate, there is a pool called Aramaic, the house of loving kindness. And this pool is surrounded by 5 covered porches. Hundreds of sick people were lying there on the porches, the paralyzed, the blind, the crippled, all of them waiting for their healing. For an angel of God would periodically descend into the pool to stir up the waters. And the first one who stepped into the pool after the waters were swirled would instantly be healed. Now there was a man who had been disabled for 38 years, lying among the multitudes of the sick. And when Jesus saw him lying there, he knew that he'd been crippled for a long time. So Jesus said to him, "Do you truly long to be healed?" And the sick man answered, "Sir, there's no way I can get healed. I've got no one to lower me into the water when the angel comes. And as soon as I try to crawl to the edge of the pool, someone else jumps in ahead of me." Then Jesus said to him, "Stand up, pick up your sleeping mat, and you will walk." Immediately he stood up and he was healed. So he rolled up his mat and walked again. Now this miracle took place on the Jewish Sabbath. Quite a couple of things in this miracle just don't add up for me at all. So number one, the water only moved once a year. No one knew the day, the month, or the time. So it would be every day. You'd have to be there all day looking and waiting, because no one knew the time, no one knew the day. And so people said that an angel moved the water. So it's kind of believed that the pool is an intermittent spring. So when the water is released from the underground reservoirs, it kind of bubbles up and it looks as if it's being swirled. Healings probably did take place there. The pool developed a reputation because of what people said. Now, there were multitudes. Multitudes means hundreds and hundreds of people. You know, if you imagine a rugby game or a massive sports event or a concert, hundreds and hundreds of people. What happens when you want to get to the exit and you're at the back? It's impossible. It's block with people. People are back to back. There's no ways you're going to get through. So if you look at this miracle, even if the guy wanted to get to the front, there was no ways he was ever going to get there. I mean, he would have been at the back, okay, for starters. How's he going to see the water move? Even if he did see the water move, the guy's right at the edge of the pool. They're going to get in first. He was never going to be able to get into the pool. But why was he there every day? Every single day. 38 years of doing that with the odds were impossible in terms of him getting into the water. Let's look at his position. His problem had become his life. Sure, the guy was paralyzed for 38 years. You imagine a guy who's paralyzed, every day he gets dropped off at the pool with the hundreds. Imagine what the conversation's going to be. The conversation's probably not going to be positive. The conversation is probably going to be all about one another's ailments. Remember, people were there because something was wrong with them. So, when you're in a group of people and you've all got the same commonality, you tend to talk about that. So imagine for 38 years, every day, all you're talking about is your issue, your sickness, your problems, and how your problems are getting the better of you and how you're never going to get to the pool. And, so the man found a community that fed into his condition. So it would have been actually very unhealthy. No one moving, no one around him getting healed, talking about problems, talking about their sickness all the time. The pool was stagnant. Remember, it only moved once a year. So the pool is stagnant, it's not moving, there's no life. So the guy is actually caught in a very toxic pattern. This is what I do. I wake up, I wash, I eat, I go to the pool, I talk about the same depressing things every day, and then at the end of the day, I go home no better off than what I was when I started. So his thinking would have been, this is my lot in life. This is how it's always been. This is how it's always going to be. So the source, even the source that he was looking to for his healing was unhealthy. The Bible says in Ezekiel 47, come to the river of life and you will find healing there. This was not a river of life. It was just a pool. The negativity around that, expecting the worst. I'm never going to get healed. I'm never going to get to the water. And then often negativity hides deep-rooted issues. And for the man at the pool, there would have been a weird sense of comfort for him because he would have gotten the sympathy of those around him. He would have sympathized with them. They would have sympathized with him. And that would have just fed his condition. It would have fed those roots of negativity, feeling like a victim, disappointment, discouragement. So it was such a toxic environment. So the environment would have killed hope and would have caused a handicapped faith. They would have used words around the pool like never, can't, won't, this is impossible. So it's an identity that actually shaped and mastered the man at the pool. Not a very good picture, is it? And then thrown into all of that, there were hundreds of people. What made Jesus go to the man who'd been paralyzed for 38 years? Why him? Why did he go to him? And then what an odd question to ask someone who's paralyzed. Do you truly long to be healed? It's an odd question. And for some, the answer would be pretty obvious. But sometimes an obvious question expressing something that isn't obvious to the person. So what Jesus was saying is, if you really long to be healed, what are you doing here? Because you're not going to find your healing here. The odds are stacked up against you getting to the pool. Every day you're coming into a toxic environment. And it's like, just stop a minute and listen to yourself. There's a difference between what I desire and what I'm desperate for. It's like, oh, it would be awesome if I had a Porsche. Or it would be awesome if I had a house in Bishop's Court. That's just like something, it would be nice. I'm not desperate for it. Do you truly long to be healed? That's a question that kind of, will you do whatever it takes to find your healing? So if we look at the guy at the pool, did he really want to be healed? Because why go to the same place where you're going to have the same disappointment in the same toxic environment, facing the same odds? He got comfortable in his condition. His surroundings fed the negativity and the disappointment. And so sometimes we become so attached to our problems, we get used to them. We even accommodate them. We learn to live with them. Humans have the ability to compensate. It's an amazing thing where people I know who are unable to see, who are blind, their other senses are highly attuned. Their sense of smell and touch and their auditory senses are incredibly well developed, which is a fantastic ability that people have. But sometimes it can be to our detriment. Let's look at an example. You hit debt. You hit a crisis with your finances. Initially, it's like, what are we going to do? Panic stations. We need to try and change this and change that. But when the problem kind of doesn't really go away and it just persists, we kind of start embracing it. This is normal. I'm going to live with debt and having very little movable capital. And we kind of get used to it. And then we kind of justify it. I don't earn enough, and my cost of living is very high, and excuses often mask and give reason to remain stuck. Excuses are often like, I'm just putting a band-aid on the issue. I do want to get help, but I've given up. So if you think of excuses sort of, it's not me, it's the people. The guy at the pool said, it's not my problem. The people, there's no one to carry me. It's because of my condition I can't get there. Now, those are legitimate reasons for not being able to get to the water. But two issues. You're making excuses for not getting to the water, and you're not where your miracle is. Your miracle is not at the water. Stop making excuses for why your life isn't better. How bad do you want a better life? An excuse is just a justification for a fault. So excuses hold us back. Excuses don't help. They cover the root of the issue. Instead of dealing with these, we focus on covering up the root, and all the root does is it gets stronger. I guess excuses are kind of like a decoy, because there's justification for the root issue. We don't see the root issue. We just listen to the excuses. I don't know if you're aware of the Munchausen syndrome. It's a form of child abuse where the caregiver will create fake symptoms for a child to create the illusion that there's something wrong with them. There was a very infamous case in the news towards the end of last year where this mother had created the illusion that her daughter was incredibly ill when actually she wasn't. And I think excuses are kind of a similar principle. They enable our issues. What was Jesus' response to the man at the pool? Stand up, pick up your sleeping mat, and walk. Notice Jesus doesn't wait for a response, because it wasn't a response that he was waiting for. He wanted to draw the man's attention to the real issue. What was the real issue? You're stuck. You're stuck in being stuck. You keep coming to the same place, hoping for your miracle. Your thinking is stuck. Your faith is stuck. Your expectation is stuck. What are you doing here? Your miracle isn't here. Move. Sometimes an obvious question expresses something that is not obvious to the person. It's like when God said to Adam, Adam, where are you? God wasn't asking him physically, where are you? God was actually drawing attention to the fact, Adam, you're not, our relationship is not what it should be. Our relationship has a gap. Why have you allowed this gap to be created? So it wasn't a positional question when God said, Adam, where are you? It was a relational question. Get it? Life happens. Disappointment happens. We lose our way. We make wrong decisions. We live with regret. We get to the place where, shucks, nothing I do seems to work. And then sometimes we justify where we find ourselves. We feed it. We make excuses. It's my background. It's my personality type. It's my circumstances. This is just the way I am. Do you really, truly long to be healed? Do you truly long to get a better education? Do you truly long to be married and have a family? Do you truly want to see a change in your finances? Lift your vision, change your language, move and repeat. Why stay in one place for so long if nothing's happening? Change one thing. Why didn't the man at the pool move? I think that he'd been in that position for so long, his will was paralyzed. He was spiritually blind because he'd been looking at the pool for so long that was never going to be his source, instead of looking at Jesus. His healing was not just physical, his healing was spiritual. He was set free from sin. You know what I love about this story? Jesus looked for him. Jesus chose him from among the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And it's the story of the Good Shepherd. The Good Shepherd looks for the lost. And that's the grace and the mercy of Jesus, that he looks for us. John 5:14 says about the man, a short time later, Jesus found the man in the temple and said, "Look at you now, you're healed." And listen to this. Walk away from your sin so that nothing worse will happen to you. It was not about just physical healing. His soul was restored. Some of us are looking to people to fix us, a job to fix the problem, more money to be our savior. God will work through these, but he is the source, not the job, not the money, not the person. I think some of us have the Cinderella syndrome. The Cinderella syndrome, if only I was rich, my marriage would be great. If only I had a better job, I'll feel better about myself. No, job, money, people, not the source. Jesus is the source. So how do we move? What do we do when we're in this space? Move. Change one thing. If you want a miracle, do something. Don't stay where in your mind you left physically years ago. Don't quit your job for a new one when you behave as if you're still in the old job. Just stick with me on this statement. Don't ditch Steve for Phil and then treat Phil as if he's Steve. God's not here to make you happy. He's here to make you more like him. God's not here to give you what you want. He's here to give you what you need. For what you hope for and what you believe to happen. Move. If you want a miracle, do something. Second part, move up, away, from, out, or to. Move your faith. Use it. Use your faith to move away from a toxic friendship that's sapping the life out of you. Move to a new group. If the group you're spending your time with at the moment just gossips. Step up at work instead of cutting corners and then whining when you don't get an increase. Stop telling your kids you love your wife. Show them by honoring her. Don't just tell guys about how awesome Authentic City Church is. Get involved. Serve. So, what's the bottom line here? Move away from making notes and plans and strategy and mind maps and flowcharts. Do something. let's put it in simple terms. If you want to get fit, start walking up steps. Do something. It's no use having this awesome plan and you've got this app on your phone about how you're going to get fit, and you start doing something physically, and then fight the right fight. In my years of being in the ministry, so often there are guys, they'll complain the drums are too loud. I don't like that song. Why wasn't there a scripture up when the person gave their offering message? Keep the main thing the main thing. What is the main thing? Did someone get saved in the service? Did someone find healing? It's not about the drums, the scripture on the screen, the song I do and don't like. It's like, focus on the main thing. It's like, when last did you talk to someone who'd suffered a great loss and you were able to bring Jesus into the situation? When did we provide a meal for someone who hadn't eaten for weeks? Fight the right fight. Move. Repeat. And I think that's my challenge for tonight. The man at the pool was stuck in his stuck, but Jesus found him. But Jesus challenged him, and the man had to move physically. Jesus said to him, get up. Get up. Maybe that's what Jesus is saying to you tonight. Get up. You're stuck in stuck. Stop moaning about it. Get up. If you want a miracle, do something, and then repeat, and then repeat, and then repeat. I hope that you've been encouraged, and I want to really just land tonight with God's only intention is to see you accomplish your destiny, is to see you reach your full potential, is to see you flourish, is to see your life being full of life, not brushing away all life's problems, making sure that nothing goes wrong in your life. No, it's seeing you full of Him, where you're able to rise up, where you're able to flourish and grow through tough, where you're able to be light in someone else's world. That's what He wants. But we sometimes sabotage that. We get stuck in our stuck. Do something and repeat. Take one thing out of tonight and do it. Maybe you need to move out of a group you're in that's toxic. Maybe you need to change your attitude towards work. Maybe you need to change your attitude towards serving. Maybe you need to just put down a mindset that is toxic. Maybe you need to forgive someone. Maybe you need to let go of resentment. Do something. Do something. Do something. Take care. God bless. Can't wait to see you next week. Do something. Remember this face and this finger saying do something. God bless everyone. Love you all. Bye.